are down with no major new layoffs reported. Golf at the Speedway. Chuck Marlowe's 500 report is next, followed by Scott Bridge with all of today's sports news. But first, this preview of what's ahead later on USA Tonight.
Coming up on USA Tonight, we'll have the latest from the Persian Gulf on the attack against a U.S. warship, Iraq now admitting responsibility. We'll also look at why the ship did not defend itself, even though it had advance warning. And we'll look at whether the incident will lead to an increased U.S. military role in that region. On the Health Beat, a new way to check up on your doctor, plus an angel of mercy. Father Fagan finds a home for homeless babies. Join us.
Every year, Hubler Chevrolet has a pace-setter sale celebrating speed, and this year is no different. Look for our machinist racing team car at the track and these hot pace-setter specials at Hubler. Cavalier Z24s from $93.02, IROC Zs from $12,399, and Monte Carlo Supersport Aero Coupes from $13,285. Take a test drive and receive 2 free tickets to this year's Indy Motorsports Expo at the Hoosier Dome. Hubler Chevrolet, good people to go racing with.
This is Dave Smith. For the best in classic motion pictures, join me every Saturday night for When Movies Were Movies. Saturday night at 11, Gregory Peck stars in Ernest Hemingway's The Snows of Kilimanjaro.
And I thought that if I had followed the wrong scent and was going to perish, then I'd better get back to the jungle from where I'd started.
When Movies Were Movies on WTTV, Channel 4, the Indiana Movie Station.
This 500 report is brought to you by the American Dairy Association, by Nestle Crunch, and by Exxon.
Well, the field is filled. 2 cars were bumped yesterday. 3 had qualified to fill the field. It's not quite as fast a field as it was last year, by about 4 miles an hour less. But nonetheless, we'll have 33 cars going for that green flag this coming Sunday. Today was a day of fun. All the drivers, some of their crews, some of us media people out on the golf course, knocking the ball around. A tradition that's held here at the track for so many years. And you find some pretty good swings out there, such as Tom Sneva. Johnny Rutherford plays a pretty good game. A.J. Foyt, well, he'll have his fun out on the golf course, too. And a lot of others kicking the ball around. It's, again, as I said, it's just a day to relieve a lot of frustrations and get out and have a lot of good times with your friends. We took an opportunity before all this started this morning to talk to a man who made the show this year by the skin of his teeth. He is the 9th past winner to make the Indianapolis 500 this year. That in itself is a record. And we talked with Tom Sneva. Tom, in your wildest imaginations, could you ever conceive that a former winner such as yourself would have as much trouble trying to decipher the elusive factors of the track this year?
Well, we didn't think we'd have as much trouble as we did, but, you know, that's part of the game. That's part of Indianapolis. You know, it's a little different each year, and you start from scratch every month of May, and that's what makes this place what it is.
Some of these frustrations that occur during the month, and I know a lot of you drivers, we can tell by watching your face. A little smile on your face, something like that, that's good. When you get frowns when you climb out, even though you've been running right, it's not feeling right. But are some of these frustrations the things that you take for granted with the profession, or do they just all of a sudden jump up and hit you?
Well, you know that it's possible with this sport. There's so many variables and so many combinations you need to try and test. You'd like to think you have some experience and know how to eliminate some of the things you need to test, but this year things have been a little different. So everybody's been doing, throwing away their old notebooks and making new ones.
Veterans of years ago are also enjoying this day of fun and relaxation on the golf course, and won his first and only race 30 years ago this May. 1957 winner Sam Hanks. Sam, does it feel like 30 years since you climbed out of the cockpit of that car after the checkered flag over there?
No, it certainly doesn't, but it's there.
The pleasures that go along with winning this race also demand a lot of obligations, and you decided that year after the victory that you were going to just sort of shrug off some of those obligations of racing and retire. Have you regretted it at all?
Oh, no. Good Lord, I couldn't drive in these type of cars and speeds are going, Chuck. And I think I did the right move at the right time, and we had some action since then, and who knows, I could have been involved right in the middle of them, you know.
Has it surprised you the way the speeds have gone up?
Yes, it has. We've always had, like you say, we've always had 1 to 2 and 4 miles an hour increase, but my land here, when we started going here a few years ago when we had the big jumps, you know, it really was amazing.
Tomorrow, we'll spend some time talking to a veteran mechanic here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He has crewed for a lot of cars and a lot of drivers and a lot of winners, too. One, Roger Ward, and that would be A.J. Watson. We'll have a nice chat with him. We'll also snoop around the garage area and see how the cars are doing in preparation for carburation tests this coming Thursday. But for 500 reports for this Monday, that's it for today.
Chocolate is scrumptious when it crunches. That's why I love Nestle Crunch Milk Chocolate. That's creamy, blending, crispy food, so dreamy. Gotta have it, it's so scrumptious. Love that chocolate when it crunches. Crunches. Chocolate is scrumptious when it crunches. That's why I love Nestle Crunch.
Those hard-to-find auto parts are not so hard to find when you come into G.W. Pierce Auto Parts. G.W. Pierce has acres of late-model car parts, including 87 models. G.W. Pierce is the used parts specialist with the parts you need for only a fraction of the cost, with locations in Spiceland, Muncie, Anderson, Richmond. And if you're looking for special foreign parts, visit the G.W. Pierce Westfield location. Thousands of car owners depend on G.W. Pierce to locate that used car parts that they need. So remember, your search for auto parts ends at any G.W. Pierce Auto Parts location.
You know, my dad was a mechanic, so I learned at an early age how important it is to use the right motor oil. Well, cars have gotten real complicated since then. So for today's cars, you need today's motor oil. New Superflow from Exxon. Hey, this is a real winner. It's got this special additive wear band that's super at blocking wear around the rings, cam, pistons, all over your engine. So you want your engine to last? Go with the flow. New Superflow.
Hey, Indy fans, get your engine started with milk. Milk, Indiana's favorite health care.
For the cost of one shower with an electric water heater, you can take 2 showers with a gas water heater. You're smarter to choose gas.
Good evening. It's hard to believe that a basketball player like Magic Johnson has had to wait this long before winning the NBA's Most Valuable Player award, but today the Magic Man from L.A. was finally named MVP of the NBA. I'll show you a little bit of what Magic Johnson did during this past season. He averaged a career-high 23.9 points a game and a league-best 12.2 assists a game in leading the Lakers to a 65-17 mark. That was the best in the NBA. Without him, the Lakers would not have a prayer of winning the league championship. With him, Los Angeles has 3 NBA banners in the past 8 years and is the favorite to win a 4th this year. Now, Michael Jordan was a distant second in the MVP balloting. A good case could be made for him since the Bulls would have been among the league's worst without him. But the Lakers would merely be mediocre without Magic, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar might have retired by now if Magic had not arrived to take some of the scoring and leadership pressure off his shoulders. The NBA playoffs will resume tomorrow night. Lakers playing in Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals against Seattle in L.A., and the Lakers are holding a 1-0 advantage. Now, the Boston Celtics and Detroit Pistons will start the Eastern Conference Championship tomorrow night, and that game will be played in Boston. Some future NBA players are hoping to make the cut tonight for the U.S. Pan Am men's basketball team. IU's Keith Smart and Dean Garrett have a shot at that team, and so do Purdue's Todd Mitchell and Troy Lewis. We'll tell you who made it and who didn't tomorrow night on sports. While most of the local sports focus will be on the Speedway this weekend, one Indianapolis man is focused on keeping the World Boxing Association's light heavyweight title. Marvin Johnson will fight Leslie Stewart for the 2nd time this Saturday night. But this bout will be in Stewart's native Trinidad. And the 2 fighters met in Indianapolis last year. That's what you're seeing right now. Johnson knocked Stewart out. Marvin is predicting a repeat this Saturday. A sellout crowd of 30,000 people is expected. A night off for the first-place Indianapolis Indians. The Tribe now holds a 2-game lead in the American Association, and they'll go back into action tomorrow night at Busch Stadium against Buffalo. In the big leagues tonight, the Houston Astros were at Three River Stadium to take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. We'll show you what happened in that game. Scoring started in the 3rd inning. Houston with 2 outs, a runner on second. Runner going when the ball's hit, and it drops right in front of Andy Van Slyke. Hatcher will score, and it's 1-0 Houston. Then Kevin Bass singles to left. And Reynolds, the left fielder, just can't quite come up with it. He lets the ball get by him, and all of a sudden it's 2-0 Houston. Then the Pirates get one of those runs back in their half of the third with this shot here, but this home run is icing on the cake, and it's Houston 4, Pittsburgh 1, final score. Elsewhere in the National League, San Diego edges the Mets by 2. Montreal defeats the Giants 7-2, and Philadelphia puts the Dodgers on a 5-game losing streak now. Phillies 5, Dodgers 3. Over in the American League, Detroit is shutting out Texas 5-0 in the 5th. Boston holding a 2-1 advantage over Kansas City in the 5th. By the way, the Royals got some bad news. George Brett won't require knee surgery, but his rehabilitation will take him out for at least a month. And then there are also 3 games just getting started. Baltimore at Seattle, New York at Oakland, and Toronto at California. We should also mention that Giants outfielder Eddie Milner checks out of a drug rehab clinic today, and he's going to the AAA Phoenix Club for conditioning. No word yet on when Milner will go back to the Giants. Well, the most sensational baseball news of the day is word that Harry Carey is ready to return as the play-by-play announcer for the Chicago Cubs. Now, Harry says he's fully recovered from that stroke that sidelined him last February. He'll be back in Wrigley Field's broadcasting booth for tomorrow's game against Cincinnati. And until this season, Harry had only missed, well, he really hadn't missed any games in 43 years of broadcasting baseball. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Not a bad record.
No, not at all. Thanks a lot, Scott. Well, if you're making plans to travel this upcoming Memorial Day weekend, no need to worry about gas. A AAA Hoosier Motor Club survey shows gas prices are about the same as last year and plentiful. The average price of gasoline is $1.07. That's 1 cent less than last year's Memorial Day holiday. Travelers shouldn't have any trouble filling up over the weekend. The survey also showed 82% of the service stations will be open. Wet and sticky. That's what Paul says is in the forecast, which is coming up next.
I'm about to offend a lot of steak lovers by covering this beautiful sirloin with ketchup. You wouldn't do that, right? Yet you'd pour ketchup on a burger. And isn't that chopped steak? Try A1 steak sauce on your burger instead of ketchup. Its herbs and spices bring out the natural flavor of steaks. It makes hamburgers taste like steak burgers. So don't cover it, discover it with A1. And save the ketchup for your fries.
Brown Sporting Goods has the hot new Impulse bikes with super colors and features, all at great low prices, like the Impulse 10-speed, a $109.99 value, now only $79.88 assembled free. Brown says the Impulse City bikes, too, $129.99 value, now only